Welcome to the Pink Lady Posse Podcast, women who refuse to disappear. You are either creating your life or living one you inherited. Friction management. It matters because breakthrough is your way out of drift. See the drag? Return to say, let's go. I am Sandy Parker Martinez with the Pink Lady Posse Podcast, and I'm so happy to be with Peaches Udoma. She is a business development consultant, a communication strategist, an academic, a coach, and all that in a bag of tricks is really what I want to say. So
Sounds good.
give me the what's so about who you are, not only for yourself, but like for the world. Who are you?
Oh, what a great question. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here with the
You're
Pink Lady
welcome.
Posse. Um, I discovered probably 3 or 4 decades ago that I was put here to make sure that people express themselves. And that's that. And express your highest self, your most creative self, express yourself to your highest potential, meet your potential head on, and don't take no for an answer.
Mm, I love that. So for women who refuse to disappear, that's part of it.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, y'all, this woman goes everywhere from executive coaching to hip hop.
Absolutely. Yeah, we
So,
forgot about
oh,
that.
okay, wait. You got to give me that whole realm of world.
Well, that's where the business development comes in because this company, Top 8 Arts, where the young woman who owns it is also a woman like us, but a lot of years younger.
Mm,
She's a pharmacist and an MBA and a competitive hip hop dancer. And so she decided to start a company, first a nonprofit, which then pivoted into a for-profit to bring the Olympic breakdancers around to bring smiles and joy and inspiration to communities in need. And so that company brings breakdancing and graffiti art and beatboxing, which is making music with your mouth, and the visual art of, I said graffiti already, the history of hip hop culture and its artistry, DJing and learning how to play music and do all sorts of really cool tricks. That's part of hip hop culture as well. It's an American art form, and it happened here. It started here, and it does belong to Americans, Americans from all different backgrounds. But what's in common, what everybody has in common is that they're Americans. And so this company is only a few years old, and we are trying to get into the university space, the nonprofit organizational space where people are helping other people, the children's hospital space,
mm.
anywhere that our artists can be to bring joy and hope and inspiration, and sometimes a an escape from difficult circumstances. That's where we want to be. So that's where my business development hat comes in, because I'm working with them to really build out their programs and expand them and get them seen and sought after in the world. So that's why I'm doing that. But that's also why I help other nonprofits around the world get themselves established and get themselves seen so that they can get donors. And it's the same thing with my internship program that I run out of the University of Connecticut, getting students into the health districts to support those health districts in combating opioid misuse.
Mm.
And it's why I worked in journalism for so many years, to make sure that people got heard and seen. It's all the same thing, Sandy. It's all about self-expression.
It is, but when I look at you, this is just my the lens in which I live. I go, you don't look like you would promote hip hop, which is a challenge to me because it's like I need to think outside the box on what. what's happening, what's needed. What
Well,
you're saying is self-expression.
it's self-expression. It's self-expression, and hip hop dancing, break dancing, for example, or breaking, as it really is supposed to be called, is both an art form and a sport. And people can do it of any age and any size and any background.
No, no, they cannot.
They can, and you can do it. Yes, you can do it. There are people dancing all over the world who are in the upper years of their lives, and there are the littlest people doing it. And it is fun and it is joyful and it is spirited. And, Top 8 Arts, the company that I work with, we go around to different events, and what you see, the common thread is people loving each other up.
Oh,
There are conventions. And, when we go to a kids program where they're dancing and they're competing against each other, it's required for them to walk across the floor and hug and shake hands after they've competed against each other. Yes. And the adults as well. And they're there for each other. Their competition is healthy. Their competition is congratulatory. Their competition is unifying. They're working to get better. As they stand in front of each other and compete in dancing, they're learning from each other. It's not about, I can beat you. It's more about, what can I learn from you to get better at what I do?
that
So
is
it is, yeah, it's a statement about how we can be with each other in the world.
beautiful. Now, my question is, you work with people who operate at a high level. I mean, you have for a long time. What do high performers tend to do differently, or what do they have that creates them differently for those who don't?
Okay, that's a great question. So, what do high performers do or have that separates them out from those who don't perform at such a high level? If I got your question.
I think so. That's what I want to know because I want to operate at a high level, but you have seen it.
Yeah, I see it and I do it.
Oh, yummy.
So, operating at a high level means listening. You have to listen. You have to listen. You have to listen to who you're talking to. You have to listen to the context they're coming from. You have to speak into the context they're coming from. So you actually have to be in partnership in your listening with people. So high performers listen. They read the room. They read the room. That's one of the things that makes them different. They also they care about their audience, about their marketplace. They're concerned for their audience and their marketplace. They are connected to their audience and their marketplace. They are they have strong commitments, and so they make it happen. Those commitments drive them, and they make it happen. They keep their promises, and they keep their ethics polished and out for everybody to see rather than in a drawer somewhere.
Thank you,
Mm, mm,
whoever, God,
mm.
universe, whoever. Ethics, integrity.
Ethics, ethics, integrity, keeping your promises, treating people with respect, showing up where you say you're going to show up, when you say you're going to show up there, cleaning up your messes. Um, Part of being a high performer is the receptivity in other people when it comes to you. And people will be more receptive if you behave in a way that they want to be associated with. Um,
Can you
you
give
understand what I'm saying?
can you
Yeah,
give me an example?
sure. People want to be around folks who behave in ways that make them feel um,
Seen and heard?
seen and heard, but also, you remember when Harry met Sally, I'll have what she's having, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So So it's, people want to have what you have if you show up in a way that they want to show up. If you evidence for them what's possible in
Mm.
themselves, they want to associate themselves with you. And so um, if we, so back to high performers exist, high performers operate at a level that people are attracted to, not only so they can benefit from that person at that level, but so they can be like that person at that level. So so high
Mm.
performers are role models.
I love that.
High performers are role model. Now, you have high performers out there who are jerks in the world and who do bad things. They perform really at a high level, but what are we talking about as far as what is high level, right? We have to look at that now. Is high level just an amount of productivity? Is it a measure of productivity, or is it a measure of, is high performance only producing a certain level of results, or is it producing a certain level of results in a way that is productive in society and constructive and contributory?
Well, I'm working on friction management, and I love it because I was with a woman on Saturday, and she goes, I bought a steam iron and it came with instructions. And I'm like, gonna read this. I'm like, what is the deal with instructions? And she goes, well, when my husband was here, when I got frustrated, he would take the instructions and read it.
Mhm.
I said, so you're encountering friction, which you could just say, that's friction. Okay. And she goes, okay. I'm like, hello. You know, to me, the impact I want to be in the world is liberation and self-expression. I mean, that's just the bomb diggity. And what keeps you from that is like, that's why I'm curious about what's that gap between knowing and doing. What stops people from being that way in terms of self-expression? Would you say it's overwhelm, hesitation? I mean, do you see what stops people in their self-expression?
Well, yeah. Fear is the greatest obstacle to self-expression. Internalized conversations from the outside that are not yours, but that you've adopted and
Okay, just
inherited.
say a little more about that, because my favorite little um, example is, just because I inherit a Victorian mansion doesn't mean I have to keep the couch.
Or
Like
live in it.
there are or what's inherited that you said. Tell me about that.
Well, there are internalized beliefs and conversations that we take from those who came before us, either about us or about life. Um, Conversations that are self-limiting, that are fearful for people, that didn't originate in within them. They took them on from other sources that came before. Those
Okay.
are inherited, yeah, inherited
Okay.
conversations. Then there are also external forces that aren't necessarily inherited from those who came before, but are present in people's lives at the time that they're alive, and they also internalize those. An example of that is the body positivity movement, where women in our generation were told thin or nothing. Don't even bother to put yourself out there unless you're thin. That was a discourse, very America, well, I should say US centered. In many countries of the world, that didn't exist.
Right.
And now it does. And now it does. Inherited.
Yeah,
inherit?
I'm a plus size human. So I've dealt with that my whole life. And that's what I call an external curb.
Correct.
It's coming at me. I'm tripping over it. And it's not in me. It's out there, but it seems so real, like systems, environments, you know.
So that's an example of an external conversation that people internalize. The reason why I called it inherited is that it does come from generations in the past that has now been inherited by other societies in the present, but it did come from somewhere in the past, right? And
For
it is
sure.
self-limiting. It is self-limiting. And um, so what's happening now is that women in the younger generations are rejecting that. And then you have the body positivity movement where they are going to be the size they are. Interesting how the role that language plays. What did you call yourself?
Quick question. Have you noticed how easy it is to drift through this season of life? Not unhappy, just slightly checked out. Yeah, that. At Think Pink, we don't fix women. We help them come alive again. Honest conversation. Easy occasions for discovery. No duct taping a smile over burnout. No reinvent your entire life by Tuesday. Just people who care and gentle nudges that help you feel like yourself again. I mean, the truth is, you can't be your best self by yourself. If that sentence made something in you nod, we made a free Think Pink starter gift just for you. Come take a look. No fixing, just connection. Go to pinkladyposse.com and click on Think Pink. Stay awake to your own life and not alone.
Interesting how the role that language plays. What did you call yourself?
Fat.
No, you didn't say that word though. What did you say? I am a.
Plus size.
Okay, now let's think about that for a
But when
second.
I was younger, I thought I was fat.
Okay, but even the words plus size, what do they indicate?
More than.
Okay, more than, which means there's a than that
Yeah.
is established as a norm. So if you're outside of that, then you're a plus.
Right.
What that's doing is in calling ourselves plus size, we are buying into that there's a size that's supposed to be the way it is, and we're outside of that. And that perpetuates it. It should just be size this or size that. But plus size is saying that you are different from the norm, and petites saying you're different from the norm. And these are all these categories. What do they call size 2? They don't
Poor
have a name for that.
thing.
Right, but they don't have a name for size 2 because size 2 is the expectation. So is size 4, so is size 5. And then you go into, the plus sizes and the women's sizes. Well, aren't thin women women too?
Yeah.
It's very insidious.
It's so funny because I heard an example the other day of a woman who was trying on pants. She tried on a pair of pants and they were too tight. So she made it mean she needs to lose weight instead of just get another size. Right?
Right.
That's that's the whole thing about friction management is something happens and we make it mean something about us. It's
Exactly
just the
right.
sizing was wrong.
Yeah.
But she
Yeah.
was like, oh, I gotta lose weight. I'm like, hello.
Wait, and then there's this whole thing about if you're a woman, and I love that term, overweight. Okay, what does overweight actually mean? It means there's a weight that you're supposed to be that you're over.
I'm over it.
Who's telling my body what weight it's supposed to be,
Oh
right?
my God.
So,
So
yeah,
funny.
this is the kind of stuff that we deal with in the world as women, everybody prescribing and proscribing and describing what we're supposed to be. And so these are the obstacles that we have to fight to get to where we are. And then there's that, oh my God, the whole theory behind if you're a woman with extra weight on you, extra weight, then you were abused in some way. You know what? Some people just like to eat more. You're
And
not
there's
allowed to want to eat more.
genetics. I mean, the
No,
whole,
you can't like food or you have a disorder.
oh, it is so crazy. When I'm working on friction, management, and there's those external things. Then there's those internal things. And then there's grinders, right? Over time, I'm going to be 70 in April. Over time, I have assessed myself as overweight so long that when I was on the market for a new man, I would literally flip through and go, oh, he's too buff, he's not for me. He's too this, he's not for me. He's on a bicycle. That's not going to work. And thank God I found a great guy, but it's sort of like my internal evaluation was so critical. And it turns out I had a lot of boyfriends. I'm not like, not a positive connection to be made, but, my internal, holy cow.
We are such hateful people. There's this whole trend now called mukbang. I don't know if you know what it is, but it's
Oh, what?
mukbang. And
No.
I think it started in Korea. I'm not sure, but it's a social media trend where people get on the camera and they eat. They eat. That's
What?
all they do. They eat. They eat
No.
on camera. Yes, they eat on camera. If you go to TikTok, if you go to Instagram, if you go to Facebook, they have these videos where they're eating very lustily and enjoying their food, and they're talking about their food, and they're sharing it with the audience, and they're showing it to the audience. Yeah. And it's delightful. And of course, AI has now decided to reproduce it and make fake people and all that. But I watch the real people. And I like to watch them because they just don't care what size they are. They're enjoying that food and sharing it with their audience and talking about it and smacking their lips. And then you read the comments,
Now
and
you're
the
making me
comments,
hungry.
I know, the comments are so despicable.
What?
They're so despicable. You are not allowed to eat. Sorry. You have more weight on you than other people. You are not allowed to eat. And I fight back in those comments and I say, are you that person's dietitian?
Wow.
Why are you here if you hate how she looks so much? What are you doing here? So I'm having these dialogues with people to try to educate them about their own horrendous levels of hatred toward people who weigh more than they do. That's what we've done in society. That's what we've done to our brains. That's why there are eating disorders.
All right. I'm going to switch us up.
Switch it up, baby.
So, when my mother used to say, because I said so, I didn't question it, I didn't perfect it. She had her say, I want to return women to their say because I said so. And I have this phrase, and my husband's so cute because I say, I have a say in how this goes. And there's a lot of reasons why I like overdo it because I didn't always have a say, but now I have a freaking say. And so I got a haircut the other day. It was too short. He goes, I thought you had a say in how this goes. Well, she said, what's your number? Like clip number. I'm like, I don't know. She started clipping my hair. But I love it if we can return to a place in ourself, in our soul, in our knowing that we have a say
Yes.
in how this goes. And I know you know that.
Yep, I sure do.
Can you describe that? I don't want it to
Well,
only be me, like you have a say.
um, I am going to take 1 second to text my sister, another one,
You do
who
that.
is, because my mother just called me, who's 93 and has
Oh,
always had a say. And I just would like to tell
oh,
my sister to tell her that I am with you.
perfect.
Give me 1 second here. My mother is the reason I am who I am. My mother was born in 1933 and as a teenager became a modern dancer in Brooklyn, danced with a very famous choreographer named Alwyn Nikolai, became a civil rights activist, a labor union organizer, used to travel down south to stop lynchings, became a filmmaker, a magazine editor, a playwright.
Your mother.
My mother, a playwright, owned furniture stores, uh, wrote articles for girls' magazines. What did she not do? She became a massage therapist in her 50s, licensed. She lived in Mexico, traveled around and slept in the back of a pickup truck. Was still doing work on people, massage work until she was 85, and is still coaching people.
I want her on the podcast.
You could have her on the podcast. She'd love to be on the podcast.
That'd be
Yeah, she's still
awesome.
coaching people. Yeah, she's still she lives independently. And to go back to your question about women having a say, she took us to women's marches when we were very young. And she would say to us as little girls, because she had 4 girls, never show your menstrual cramps on your face.
Okay.
Because they're going to always try to keep you down as women, and don't give them any excuses. Don't give them a reason to think that you're weaker, or you need special treatment, or you need to rest, or you need to take a day off from work, or any of that.
Holy cow, go girl.
Right. So that's what I grew up with.
Okay.
I credit her with all of it. And then as far as business development and coaching, we used to get on the buses and subways and trains in Queens, New York, where I lived as a small child. And she would start interviewing people. Well, what do you do for work? And she would ask them questions. And people would talk about jobs that were working class, just kind of like low paying jobs and all of that. And my mother would coach them to where they could see what they could be doing out in the world and how they could make a difference if they would just tweak this or that to move into a different realm. And they would get all puffed up with pride. And when they walked off the bus, they were different people from who walked on the bus.
Go, Mom.
So that's where the coaching comes in. Who can you be? How can you be your highest self? And for women especially, how can you not subvert your say? We wouldn't have a lot of the problems that we have today if women didn't subvert their say. If little girls were taught not to allow themselves to be victimized. Think about something called the Epstein files. If they knew how, if they knew that they had the power to control their existence, that never would have happened.
So how do we not know that?
How do we not know how to do
we have a
that?
say. Like, how is it that a
Because
65-year-old woman would
because
not already
historically
know that?
because historically we were told that the say belonged with the male. Women were commodities. Women were property. Women did as they were told. Women were infantilized.
I'm 70. Somewhere along the line, someone told me I have a say in how my life goes. Maybe it was my obnoxious brother. to whom I said, "Er, I have my world, my room, you don't step into my world because it goes like this." But it doesn't matter how old you are. Now is the time to be yourself. I mean, that's just me, right? Now
No, it's not just you. It's a powerful place to stand.
it's the best. It's the best. And what's funny is people think, oh, this didn't happen. I should push harder. I should do more. I should be more motivated. I should be less, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, maybe you can see friction more clearly. Like, what did we inherit that we're carrying around like baggage? What could we let go of, even at 50, 60, 70? What can we say, you know what? That's not me anymore.
Well, I think you said it best when you described your hunt for a mate. So people might look at you and think, well, all she was doing was trying to make sure that she could find someone who didn't expect her to be an athlete.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, but let's flip that. What you were actually doing was going for what you wanted.
So much.
What you were doing was saying, I don't want to be in a relationship with someone who's going to expect me to climb a mountain. I'm not into it. I'm going to find a partner who is going to be happy with me just the way I am, plump, happy, juicy, delighted, and no apologies. So you were taking your voice back in speaking what it was that you wanted to have. So instead of minimizing it as looking for people who weren't on bicycles so that it's more like, no, I'm creating my future. I'm creating my partner. Just like Frankenstein's lab. You put all the pieces together, like Mr. Potato Head. A little bit of
Oh,
this, a
I
little bit of
love
that.
that, Mr. Potato Head.
Yeah, you found someone who's got the eye in the right place, and you're going to move the ear to the right place, and the mustache and all. You were having a say. And if we as women took back our agency as far as demanding what we want. How many women stay in relationships that are terrible for them just because they don't think they can ask for more, that they deserve more? They just have to take what they get. Oh, well, he makes a good living, or she, for women with female partners, or she doesn't cheat. I think there's more than baseline. You have a job and you don't cheat. Oh, there's got to be more to having a thriving, passionate, exciting life partnership than, well, as long as they don't cheat and they have a job. I mean, it's like it's better than a sharp stick in the eye. You know what I mean?
My mother used to say that all the time.
She did?
Better than a
That
sharp stick in the eye.
well, we are just channeling her right now.
Well, I'm just going to say, if you ever say out loud, better than a sharp stick in the eye, ding, 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 like, listen. Oh my gosh, my mother said, and I have met both of my husbands online being very clear about what I wanted.
Yeah.
And I'm blessed. So, Miss Peaches, if you were going to say to any woman on the planet who ever hears this, because God knows, who knows will hear this, what's the one thing you would say to them about your perspective or your encouragement as a woman to a woman, regardless of age, regardless of anything? Yeah, that one.
Well, it's funny because years ago I was leading a couples workshop on sex and intimacy. And one of the male partners, one of the husbands said that there were 6 couples in the room. Raised his hand. He said, look, I have to do this. I have to tell Peaches the way men think. And the men in the room just erupted. No, don't do it. Don't do it. Come on. What are you doing? And he said, no, I have to because I love my wife. And he said, do what's important to you at all times, at any cost.
Bam!
And that's what men do. That's what women need to do. So that's my advice.
I
Do what's
love that
important to you
so much.
at all times, at any cost.
You know, we've been trained to be whatever we've inherited.
So true.
And we are free. We are free to say what's ours to say. And I couldn't be more grateful. I know we had mishap after snowstorm after snowstorm. But, you know, part of me wants to say, now this is really funny. My my Southern girl complex, or whatever you call that, wants to go, I need someone to rescue me. Will you be my big person to come rescue me and make me famous? Because I know you can.
Yep.
You can, Peaches. And I am so happy to have the life I have, to know you and know amazing women like you that call us forward into our best self. That is so juicy. Miss Peaches, any last comment?
No, I'm just grateful for this conversation, and hopefully it will help others. I appreciate the service that you're performing for so many, in bringing people back to themselves and connecting them with their passions and their dreams. And I just really appreciate being your guest.
Yay! Well, thank you so much. Thanks for tuning in to Pink Lady Posse Podcast, where women go from what now to what's next. Come join us at pinkladyposse.com, where we share community, resources, and tools to support your next beautiful chapter. With love, light, and a little lipstick. See you next time.